Hello, and welcome to Space Facts. Today's episode, we're going to be covering the planet Mercury. And here we go. Mercury is the smallest planet in our solar system and nearest to the Sun. Mercury is only slightly larger than Earth's moon. From the surface of Mercury, the Sun would appear more than 3 times as large as it does when viewed from Earth, and the sunlight would be as much as 7 times brighter. Mercury's surface temperatures are both extremely hot and cold. Because the planet is so close to the Sun, days can reach highs of 800 degrees Fahrenheit, 430 Celsius. Without an atmosphere to retain that heat at night, temperatures can dip as low as negative 290 degrees Fahrenheit and negative 180 Celsius. Despite its proximity to the Sun, Mercury is not the hottest planet in our solar system. That title belongs to nearby Venus, thanks to its dense atmosphere. But Mercury is the fastest planet, zipping around the Sun every 88 Earth days, which is why Mercury was named after the swiftest of the ancient Roman gods. Mercury's environment is not conducive to life as we know it. The temperatures and solar radiation that characterize this planet are most likely too extreme for organisms to adapt to. With a radius of 1,516 miles, or 2,440 kilometers, Mercury is a little more than 1/3 the width of Earth. If the Earth were the size of a nickel, Mercury would be about as big as a blueberry. From an average distance of 36 million miles, or 58 million kilometers, Mercury is 0.4 astronomical units away from the Sun. 1 AU is the distance from Earth to the Sun. From this distance, it takes sunlight 3.2 minutes to travel from the Sun to Mercury. Orbit and rotation. Mercury's high eccentric, egg-shaped orbit takes the planet as close as 29 million miles, 47 million kilometers, and as far as 43 million miles, 70 million kilometers, from the Sun. It speeds around the Sun every 88 days, traveling through space nearly 29 miles, or 47 kilometers, per second, faster than any other orbit. Mercury spins slowly on its axis and completes one rotation every 59 Earth days. But when Mercury is moving fastest in its elliptical orbit around the Sun, each rotation is not accompanied by a sunrise and a sunset, like it is on most other planets. The morning sun appears to rise briefly, set, and rise again from parts of the planet's surface. The same thing happens in reverse at sunset for other parts of the surface. One Mercury solar day, one full day-night cycle, equals 176 Earth days, just over 2 years on Mercury. Mercury's axis of rotation is titled just 2 degrees with respect to the plane of its orbit around the Sun. That means it spins nearly perfectly upright and does not experience seasons as many other planets do. Mercury has no moons or rings. Formation. Mercury formed about 4.5 billion years ago, when gravity pulled swirling gas and dust together to form this small planet nearest the Sun. Like its fellow terrestrial planets, Mercury has a central core, a rocky mantle, and a solid crust. Structure. Mercury is the second densest planet after Earth. It has a large metallic core with a radius of about 1,289 miles, or 2,074 kilometers, about 85% of the planet's radius. There is evidence that it is partially molten or liquid. Mercury's outer shell, compared to the Earth's outer shell, called the mantle and crust, is only about 400 kilometers, or 250 miles thick. Mercury's surface resembles that of the Earth's moon, scarred by many impact craters resulting from the collisions with meteoroids or comets. Craters and features on Mercury are named after famous deceased artists, musicians, or authors, including children's author Dr. Seuss and dance pioneer Alvin Ailey. Most of Mercury's surface would appear grayish-brown to the human eye. The bright streaks are called crater rays. They are formed when an asteroid or comet strikes the surface. The tremendous amount of energy that is released in such an impact digs a hole into the ground and also crushes a large amount of rock under the point of impact. Some of this crushed material is thrown far from the crater and falls onto the surface, forming the rays. Fine particles of crushed rock are more reflective than large pieces, so they look brighter. The space environment, dust impacts and solar wind particles, cause the rays to darken with time. Mercury may have water ice at its north and south poles, inside deep craters, but only in regions in permanent shadows. In those shadows, it could be cold enough to preserve the ice despite the high temperatures on the sunlit parts of the planet. Instead of an atmosphere, Mercury possesses a thin exosphere made up of atoms blasted off the surface by solar wind and striking meteoroids. Mercury's exosphere is comprised mostly of oxygen, sodium, hydrogen, helium, and potassium. Magnetosphere. Mercury's magnetic field is offset relative to the planet's equator. Though Mercury's magnetic field at the surface has just 1% the strength of Earth's, it interacts with the magnetic field of the solar winds to sometimes create intense magnetic tornadoes that funnel the fast, hot solar wind plasma down to the surface of the planet. When the ions strike the surface, they knock off neutrally charged atoms and send them in a loop into the sky. Hey, thank you for watching Planet Facts. Special thanks to NASA for all information you heard today. Have a great day. Bye-bye.